Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my hope and prayer that this video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I'm fine. Kisumu is fantastic, although it's a bit hot today. When Kenya Kwanza were campaigning, and immediately after they took over the leadership of this country, there were promises which they made to Kenyans. And there are things they promised to do to Kenyans within the first 100 days. One of the things they promised to do to Kenyans was to reduce the cost of unga. By that time, unga was retailing, I think, at 200 bob. Right now, it's retailing at 250 Kenya shillings for 2 kgs. They also promised to lower the cost of fuel, because any increase in cost of fuel normally results to increase in almost everything. When they took over, and right now the cost of fuel is actually higher, and none other than Ruto and Gachagua today asked Kenyans to give them 2 more years to deliver to some of those promises. I also saw Gladys Sholei yesterday asking Kenyans to tighten their belt a bit, and she requested 1 year. Prior to that, Cherargei, the Nandi senator, had requested Kenyans to give them time. But for me, I'm willing to give Kenya Kwanza time. I'm willing to even give them 5 years. But there's one thing I know for sure, that Kenya Kwanza is going to disappoint their supporters. Just like Jubilee government disappointed those who voted for President Uhuru Kenyatta 2 times or 3 times. There were reasons why Kenya Kwanza won the presidency. Let me just use the word win. The first reason why they won was because of their messaging. They had a very clear message to their supporters, the hustlers and the dynasties. When William Ruto took over, he changed the presidential flag to yellow and wheelbarrow. That wheelbarrow was supposed to carry Raila Odinga to Bondo, and it also signified the hustlers. Then the other group were projected as dynasties. So William Ruto was able to rally the poor using that messaging. The second reason why they won was the fact that they appeared as the Messiah, the people who are going to save Kenyans from the economic mess which was there. And the third reason why they won was because of the IBC and the judiciary. I don't want to dwell in that, but just in brief, IBC Wafula Chebukati had to punish Raila Odinga. Judiciary also had to punish Uhuru Kenyatta. And lastly, they won because there were some external forces. The US and the British government installed William Samoei Arap Ruto. But again, in politics, there is always no second winner. It's always just you either win or you lose. So William Ruto today is the president of the Republic of Kenya. He has a government to run. But are they going to succeed? For me, my answer to that is that Kenya Kwanza government is going to fail their supporters terribly. So in this video, I want to explain to you guys why personally I strongly believe that Kenya Kwanza government, led by William Ruto, Ruto and Gachagua, and his cabinet, are going to disorganize or to disappoint their supporters. Before we do that, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without the support, this channel cannot be where it is. And I want to ask you to give this video thumbs up. Now, let us begin. And I want to ask you your honest opinion. Do you think Kenya Kwanza government is going to fail? Or is it going to succeed? Yes or no? If you believe it's going to succeed, say yes. If you believe it's going to fail, say no. And the other question which probably I want to ask you is, how long should we give Kenya Kwanza to start judging them whether they are going to fail or whether they're going to succeed? How long? Should we give them 3 months, they promised us? Or should we give them 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? For me, I'm willing to give Kenya Kwanza 5 years. But why do I strongly believe that Kenya Kwanza is going to fail? Number one is the promises they made to Kenyans. Kenya Kwanza government or Kenya Kwanza leaders made some unrealistic promises to Kenyans. And because now they are in leadership, the reality is that some of those promises, they can hardly make. One of them they made was to lower the cost of fuel. Cost of fuel is normally determined by several factors. Some of them are local, some of them are beyond Kenyans. Locally here, the government can decide to do away with certain tax. Because if, for example, today you pay your electricity bill, in fact, let me just confirm something. If you pay your electricity bill, if you pay 2,000 and you check the tokens, you'll realize that the unit you bought is just 1,000. So which means the other 1,000 will just go straight to other people's pockets. So those are some of the realities. The promises they made were unrealistic. William Ruto told Kenyans he was going to reduce the cost of unga. How do you reduce the cost of unga in 3 months? You know, for me, I just looked at the cost of unga in Uganda and in Tanzania, and I realized the range was just the same as Kenya. So there was no way Kenya's unga was going to be lower, even based on the currency alone. So some of these things will take time, and that's why they are now managing the expectations of their supporters by telling them that they are giving them subsidized fertilizers, so that as a Kenyan, you'd wonder, how are they going to reduce the cost of ugali by giving you fertilizer? So basically, by doing that, they don't want you to talk of the short-term promise they made. They want to talk about the long-term. And how sure are we that farmers are really benefiting from, for example, the fertilizer? So basically, this government made promises, and those promises are unrealistic. And because they are unrealistic, Kenyans will be monitoring and will start asking them, you promised this, you are not able to do. You promised this, you are not able to do. And just like that, Kenyans will feel disappointed. Number two is the handshake politics. William Ruto managed to persuade his supporters that all problems in Kenya, the challenges you are facing as a country, were as a result of the handshake. That because of the handshake, the cost of fuel went up. Why? Because the Raila and Uhuru initiated BBI. If you ask them how much was allocated to BBI, they'll tell you it was 5 billion. 5 billion is a drop in the ocean for a government. They'll tell you, or they told their supporters, how the cost of electricity and oil were up either because of state capture. Today, the reality is on them that whatever they were telling Kenyans were not the reality. The reality is the cost of fuel, for example, is determined at the international level, and the majority of even oil importers are not Kenyans. They are multinational companies. Even the electricity, they're now realizing that one of the biggest shareholder is actually Ndindi Nyoro. Something they would not tell you before. So because there's no handshake which they were using to blame, Kenyans will continue telling them, look here, Uhuru, Raila are no longer there, we just need the services. Yesterday, but one, Dennis Itumbi posted something on his Facebook page, and he challenged people to go and register for some training on stock market. And when the hustlers went there, they were being charged money, and they were very bitter. You could read, you could tell the bitterness from those comments. So some of the handshake, I mean the handshake which they used to blame for everything is no longer there. So they can't give their supporters any other reason. Number 3 is the global economy. The world over, economy is bad everywhere. Be it Kenya, be it Uganda, be it US, be it UK, be it Europe, there is serious economic meltdown. And the impact is not only felt in Kenya, it's felt everywhere. But now, if you told your supporters that once you take over, you are going to make sure that they have money in their pocket, that hustlers, you'll give them some money to do businesses, how do you take government money to give women in the market just like that? So the state of economy globally is a bad news for William Ruto. The fourth reason why this government is going to fail is the expectation of their supporters. You know, right now, their supporters are willing to extend, to give them 1 more year or even 2 more years. Why? Because they fear being mocked by Azimio supporters. But deep down, they know that they were expecting this, that, and that to happen. But those expectations are not going to be met. So they'll disappoint Ruto and they'll disappoint Rigathi. I've been wondering, what are these guys doing in the first 30 days? Nothing. And lastly, why they're going to fail is revenge and excitement. You know, everybody in Kenya Kwanza is warning everybody who was in Azimio. And because they are planning to revenge, they are planning. The other day, they were in Eldoret. Kimani Ichung'wah was like, okay, you know, if you stole KEMSA money, you'll go to jail. And you can tell someone like Amos Kemunya is being dragged in court. Today alone, Aisha Jumwa's 19 million case scandal has been withdrawn. Waititu's case withdrawn. The Samburu governor case withdrawn. Everybody who supports UDA and their cases are being withdrawn. The implication is that in the next few hours, in the next few days or months or years, it will come to haunt them. I don't know what you think. Why do you think this government is going to fail? On your side. If you believe it's going to succeed, just say it's going to succeed. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.